Okay, now that we've reviewed our reference file, let's go ahead and close our references dialog here and talk about creating the corridor. So in this section, we'll create a new corridor for London Road. And the first portion of the corridor is a 2-lane plus turn lane rural section. So it's pavement with shoulder and some grading. And then at this point here that I have labeled in the DGN file, we're going to start an urban template or urban section of the corridor. So it's going to have your pavement, curb and gutter, some sidewalk, and grading. So let's go and create the corridor and add our template drops. So to create the corridor, we first want to go up to corridors, want to go to new corridor, and before we select our baseline or locate our baseline, we want to set our feature definition here because that's going to control the accuracy and the display options for our 3D model that gets created. So we're going to select conceptual to begin with. And we'll come down here and we'll locate our corridor baseline, which is our London Road geometry coming from our geometry reference file. So we'll select that, left click. We're going to right click to use the active profile. And then the corridor name is automatically entered in the field from the alignment name. So we'll just leave that set for London Road. We'll left click to accept, and then you'll see the corridor object is placed along the alignment. And now at this point, what we need to do is we need to go and find our template that we want to use. And if you recall, a template is just your transverse geometry that you're going to drop along the corridor at a particular interval. So we're going to select our 2-lane plus turn lane rural section template. So I want to go and browse to the template library real quick. So to do that, if you follow the heads up prompt, you'll see you press the Alt key, then press down on the keyboard, and you can come over here and select any template that you would like from your template library. Okay, so we're in project templates. We're going to select 2 lanes plus turn lane rural, and then over here you can see on the right side we have a preview of that particular template or typical section. So this is the template that we're going to drop along our corridor. So we're going to click OK, and then from there we're going to left click to accept that. And then for the starting station, we're going to start down here in the beginning at 50 plus 00. So I'm just going to press the Alt key on my keyboard to lock in that start station. And then for the ending station, we're going to zoom into this area here where I have the text indicating where the ending of the rural template drop is. And we're just going to snap to that graphical element in there and left click to accept. And our template drop interval is going to be 10 feet. So we're going to be dropping this template every 10 feet along our roadway or our alignment. So to left click to accept that. Our start transition, we're just going to use 0 for that, so we'll left click to accept that. Our stop transition, we'll just do a 0 for that one as well. Left click to accept. And then the corridor is created. So let's review what's happened in the 2D view so far. So right now we're working in strictly 2D and in the 2D model. And what you see on the screen is we have the 3D model that was created is also referenced in here. So let's go and turn off the 3D model in our reference files real quick just so we can see some other things that are going on here. So I'm going to go up to Attach Tools, References, and you're going to notice here's the corridor 3D model here. Let's turn that off. And we'll close this. And let's also open up the 3D model view so you can see what got created in the 3D model. So over here I got the 3D model set up in view number 2, so I'm going to toggle on view number 2. And there's our 3D model of our roadway. So this is that rural template drop section that I've created. And we have our components in here and our linear features from the template in the 3D model. And then in the 2D model over here, we have the corridor object with these handles on it. And this has the corridor properties. So if you select it and then hover over it for a little bit, you'll get the context sensitive menu that comes up, and you can review the properties of that particular corridor. And we also have the template drop, which is this purple shape here, and if you click on that, you can get to the properties of that as well. And we'll take a look at the properties here. You can see the template drop interval. We got the template that we used. We can change the template here if we need to, as well as adjust the start and end station. We also have the ability to adjust the start and end station by using the dynamic text here and the drag handle arrow. So I just want to point out to you, when you create a corridor, you end up with some stuff in 2D and 3D. So in 2D, we have the corridor object, and then we have the template drop boundary, or the template drop, and then in the 3D model, we also end up with the 3D components and the 3D linear features. Also in the 2D model, we have the features drawn in the 2D view as well. So we have features in here that are drawn from the 3D model as well. So I just want to point that out, the different graphics that are going on here. And it's also important to note that you typically start in 2D and then you end up with a 3D model. You generally don't want to be doing anything over here in 3D. Let OpenRoads manage and do what it needs to do in the 3D model over here. You don't usually need to mess with anything in the 3D view. Everything you do is typically going to be in the 2D model. Okay, now that we've reviewed the corridor in 2D and 3D, let's focus our attention on the feature definition that was used to create this particular corridor. If we look at the 3D model, you're going to notice that in the curved area here, it's a little corded. It doesn't look very accurate as far as the template drop around the curve here. That's because I used a feature definition that was called conceptual. And in conceptual, offers a little bit less accurate results in your 3D model, but it also speeds up the processing. But I want to have something that's a little bit more accurate and a better level of detail here for this 3D model. So I'm going to go and change my feature definition to show you how that affects the 3D model. So let's go over here to the corridor object. I'm going to select that. We're going to go into the properties, and you'll notice the feature definition was conceptual. That's what we used originally. I want to change this to final because that's going to increase the level of detail in the 3D model for us. So I'm going to click on that. You're going to notice now that our template drop interval got a little bit tighter because we have a multiplier in there set, and also the template drops around the curve are also a little bit tighter. So now we have a little bit more accurate model. Let's go ahead and add the urban template drop to the corridor. We're going to go up to corridors. We're going to go to new template drop. This time we're going to use the urban 2 lanes plus turn lane urban template to drop it on the corridor. And so we're going to go over here and locate the corridor again. This time we're going to select the Alt down key to go find our urban 2 lane plus urban with the turn lane. And we're going to click OK. I left click to accept. And for the starting station, we're just going to snap to my graphic in my file here. And I'm going to left click to accept that. And then the ending point, I'm just going to key in 91 plus 00 as my end. Left click to accept that. Template drop is going to be 10 feet once again. Start transition 0, stop transition 0, and left click to accept. Okay, so now we have our corridor created all the way along the alignment. And if we come over here in 3D view and we take a look, you can see where it abruptly changes from rural to urban. And how are we going to address that? Well, in this case right now, that point is happening near this intersection here. And if you notice, I have some other intersections and driveways along the corridor. So that's what we want to address next. What do we do when we get into these intersection areas and these driveway areas? Because a lot of times you don't want your grading going through another roadway that's coming in there. So we need a way to get rid of our components through here or turn off pieces of our corridor through these areas. So we're going to do that next. And I'm going to show you how to do that using corridor references with some tricks that we have set up in our template that we've used for this corridor.